Good day everyone. I'm your MIL teacher, Mr. Aldrin J. Sikitin, and today we're going to talk about the evolution of traditional media to new era. But first, let us have the objectives for this lesson. So at the end of the lesson or at the end of the discussion, you're able to identify traditional media and new media and their relationships. Also, you're able to editorialize the roles and functions of media in democratic society and identify the latest theory on information and media. Let us start by having concepts of how media develop through ages. The 20th century was a spectator to the birth of what is conceivably the most well-known device in the history of mankind, the television. TV is a communications technology that has transformed the delivery of information, entertainment, and artistic expression. Now would be a good moment to take a trip back through ages and delved into the forms of and devices for media and communication throughout human history. So we're going to give examples of media used in specific era or historical era. We're going to start with the prehistoric era, which was transpired in between 200,000 BCE up to 4,000 BCE. Under this era, we have four examples. The first one is the petroglyphs or petroglyphs. Petroglyphs are illustrations created by abolishing part of a rock surface by incising or carving as a form of rock art. Around 7,000 to 9,000 years ago, other forerunners of writing systems such as pictographs and ideograms began emerge. So here's an example of a pictograph. Next is cave paintings or the what we call parietal art. These are painted drawings on cave walls or ceilings, mainly of prehistoric descent to some 4,000 years ago or around 38,000 BCE in both Asia and Europe. The exact purpose of paintings is not recognized. Evidence proposed that they were not merely ornaments of living areas since the caves in which they have been found do not have traces of ongoing habitation. And here is an example of a cave painting. The third one is dance. In most archaic civilizations, dancing before the god was fundamental in temple rituals. In Egypt, the priests and priestesses, guided by the harps and pipes, performed ceremonial movements which mimed significant events in the story of a god or imitate cosmic patterns such as the cadence of night and day. Archaeological evidence for early dance includes 9,000 years old paintings in India at a rock shelter in Bhimbetka and Egyptian tomb paintings depicting dancing figures dated 3000 BCE. And lastly, we have body art. Unlike tattoo and other forms of permanent body art, body painting was temporary, painted in the human skin and lasted for one day or at most a couple of weeks. So this is evidence in the case of Mendi, henna or temp tattoo or glitter tattoos. Often worn during ceremonies, this ancient form of interpretation is still used among many indigenous people of the world today. Tattoos, piercing, nose, ears, mouth plugs, mendi, henna, and scarification are other ritual-based art forms. All types of body art hold great meaning in this culture. And here is an example of a Filipino tribe using their tattoos or body art. So those are examples of media under prehistoric era. So now we're going to discuss or give examples of media under the ancient era transpired between 3000 BCE up to 100 CE. The first one is the writing. Under writing, we have the cuneiform script. So this is one of the earliest schemes of writing, identified by its wedge-shaped marks on clay tablets built by means of a blunt reed for a stylus. So here's an example of a cuneiform script. We also have Egyptian hieroglyphics under the writing. So Egyptian hieroglyphics were an orderly writing system used by the ancient Egyptians that combined anagrammed and alphabetic elements. Egyptians used cursive hieroglyphics for religious articles on papyrus and wood. Early hieroglyphs dated back as far as 3000 BCE and continued to be used up until about 400 CE, when non-Christian temples were sealed and their monumental use was no longer mandatory. So here is an example of an Egyptian hieroglyphics printed in a papyrus. Next is the alphabet. Under the alphabet, we have the Phoenician alphabet. Phoenician alphabet, called by tradition the Proto-Canaanite alphabet, for epitaphs older than around 1050 BCE and is the oldest confirmed alphabet. It contains 22 letters, of all which are consonants. So here are the consonants under the Phoenician alphabet. And by at least the 8th century BCE, the Greeks borrowed the Phoenician alphabet and acclimated it to their own language, creating in the development of the first true alphabet in which vowels were bestowed balanced status with consonants. So here is a black figure vessel with double alphabet inscription showing new letters. Next to the alphabet is the drama. Drama is the clear-cut mode of narrative, commonly fictional, served in performance. Western drama comes from classical Greece. The theatrical culture of the city-state of Athens generated three genres of drama, namely tragedy, comedy, and the satyr play. And then it will be followed by paper. The word paper is grammatically derived from papyrus, ancient Greek for the Cyperus papyrus plant. Papyrus is a chunky paper-like matter produced from the core of the Cyperus papyrus plant, which was used in ancient Egypt and other Mediterranean cultures for writing way before the paper making in China. Those are examples of media under the ancient era. And now we're moving with the industrial era. So this era of media happened between 1440 up to 1890. First in line is the printing press, or the invention of the printing press. A printing press is an apparatus for administering pressure to an ink surface or surface recessing upon a print medium such as paper or cloth, thereby transferring the ink. So, one famous invention under the printing press is the invention of Johannes Gutenberg. And then next, we have the dry plates. Dry plate, or also known as Gelatine Process, is an improved type of photographic plate. It was invented by Dr. Richard Maddox in 1871, and by 1879, it was so well introduced that the first dry plate factory had been established. With much of the complex chemistry work centralized into a factory, the new process simplified the work of photographers, allowing them to expand their business. And then it is followed by telegraphy. Telegraphy is the long-distance broadcast of textual and symbolic messages as opposed to the verbal and or audio. It necessitates that the technique used for encoding the message to be known to both sender and receiver. After telegraphy, we have the telephone. A telephone or phone is a telecommunications device that allows many users to administer a conversation when they are too far apart to be heard. A telephone transfigures sound into electronic signals appropriate for transmission via cables or other transmission media over lengthy distances, and returns the signal instantaneously in audible form or audible from to its users. And then we also have phonograph. Phonograph is a device designed for the power-driven recording and production of sounds. In its later forms, it was called the gramophone. The sound waveforms are recorded as conforming physical deviations of a spiral groove engraved into the surface of a spinning disc called record. So here is an example of a phonograph or a gramophone. And then lastly, we have film. A film is also called movie, motion picture, theatrical film or photoplay. It is a series of immobile images that, when shown on a screen, and generates the illusion of moving images. This optical illusion causes the viewers to see continuous motion. Those are examples of media used in the industrial era. So now we will be having the information era happened in the year 1960s up to the present times. First in line is the radio. Radio is the technology of using radio waves to convey information such as sound by modulating some property of electromagnetic energy waves transferred through space. So, we knew that radio was widely used in the Philippines in the year 1980s or 1950s to 1980s, when the television is not that developed. Next is television. So television is a mass medium for entertainment, education, news, and advertising. So in the Philippines or in our country, we all know that we have the issues in television, specifically the issue faced by the ABS-CBN Broadcasting Incorporated. So, let me just share the meaning behind ABS-CBN and the GMA. So, ABS-CBN means Alto Broadcasting System Chronicle Broadcasting Network, or ABS-CBN. And then on GMA is Global Media Arts. Ayan. So those are the meaning of that acronym. The third one is the personal computer. A personal computer is a general purpose computer. Its size, capabilities, and novel sale price make it beneficial for individuals. And then the fourth one is the mobile phones. Mobile phones are a portable telephone which can produce and receive calls over a radio frequency carrier. Most services use cellular network manner, and therefore they are often called cellular telephones or cell phones in short. And then lastly, we have the internet. The internet is the worldwide system of unified computer networks that use the internet protocol, or the TCP or IP, that links billions of devices across the planet. So those are examples of media under the new era. So what do these media do for us? Media accomplishes several rudimentary roles in our society. One obvious role is entertainment. Media can act as a catalyst for our imagination. It is a source of a make-believe and passage for escapism. Some theories on information and media are the following. The first is allocution. In media theory, allocution is the one-way distribution of information through a media channel. It assumes that one party has a limitless amount of data and can act as the information services provider, while the other one acts as the information services consumer. So, meaning the one-way transmission or transportation of information. That is allocution. On the other hand, we have the character, or on the other side, we have the character theory. A character theory is used to understanding media such as print or electronic media text, or productions such as films and plays. It is beneficial for examining and understanding media in which people take on the part of an actor. So here are the four main types of broad character in a media text or production. The first one is the protagonist, or the leading character. So we also know protagonist is also known as the hero. And then the second one is the deuterogamist, or the secondary character, usually the supporting character. And then we have the beat player, the minor character whose specific background the audience is not aware of. And lastly, we have the fool, a character that uses humor to convey messages. So those are the four main types of broad character in media text or production. So again, if you have questions regarding this lesson, do not hesitate to ask or raise those questions on our group chats. I'm willing to answer your questions, and by that, I'm leaving you a message of being or staying safe. Ayan. And have a great day ahead.